Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at another of these 2020 Mojo Fun figures, as we have an absolute ton of them coming out for the 2020 line from Mojo, which is awesome. I think for sure they have the biggest line as far as what they are releasing in comparison to every other company that is releasing figures. I could be wrong, but they honestly have probably like 13 to 14 figures, somewhere in that range, that are coming out for the 2020 year, so that is pretty crazy, but in my opinion, pretty awesome. So this one we are looking at is the Brachiosaurus. It's one that I was actually really quite drawn to, not just because of the fact that the sculpt really quite nicely resembles a Jurassic Park style Brachiosaurus, and I'm in love with that version of Brachiosaurus, but also just because the paint scheme is very different, very cool looking. It's not what I've seen before on a Brachiosaurus. I've never really seen this type of a look with this kind of splattered spotting all over the body. It's very reminiscent in a way to the Dunkleosteus that they had released last year, I believe, where they kind of had like a lot of spotting all over the body. That's very similar to what we see here, but different versions of the colors used. And I was a huge fan of that Dunkleosteus, and I really do quite like the appearance on this Brachiosaurus. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at it right now. So starting up here with the head sculpt, you can see just how nicely done the overall detailing of the head sculpt of the Brachiosaurus is. I love the eye detail right around the eye area there. Beautifully painted eyes with a nice blackish coloration, and they gloss and glisten in the light like the real animal eyes would. Very nicely painted teeth, and the inside of the mouth has a nice pinkish type of a coloration. It doesn't appear to be too sloppy, a little bit of sloppiness with the teeth, but not too bad. But considering how small that mouth is and how small those teeth are, I would have actually expected probably more sloppiness than what you see here, because those would be really hard to paint. And when you are mass producing a whole bunch of figures, it tends to get a little bit tedious sitting there painting those teeth, but they actually look really quite nice. Beautiful detailing up here on the head, and just from this shot alone, look how nice that looks as far as resembling a Jurassic Park style Brachiosaurus. Really, really awesome. Really reminds me of the scene where the Brachiosaurus is coming up to eat out of the tree that Alan and the kids are sitting in Jurassic Park. Very, very nicely done as far as the sculpt work of this Brachiosaurus goes. As we start to lead down the neck, you can see just lots and lots of skin creases throughout the sculpt work for sure. Really nice kind of muscle definition of the neck as well as we run down the neck. Beautiful skin texture, but I really like the paint application. I love the very nice gradual changes between the browns and lighter browns and everything, and then this kind of black spotting all over the body. There's no particular design to it, it's just kind of all over the place, so it really does look cool because of it. It's not something I've ever seen on a Brachiosaurus before, or honestly not too many figures in general, but I think it looks super cool on this figure. As we get down here into the base of the neck, you can see that it's got some very large chest muscles there. Beautiful muscle definition here in the front leg. Look how jacked this Brachiosaurus is. Definitely has been hitting the gym. Really nice detailing up here into the body as well. I love kind of the skin wrinkling there as the leg connects to the body. Really nice showing of the movement of the figure. Beautifully sculpted front feet here. Really nicely sculpted wrist in that general area. You can also see some nice creases in the fold there of the elbow. Beautiful elbow actually back here on the back of the front leg. Really nice sculpting of the midsection of the dinosaur. Definitely has some girth. It's really well fed, so it's a very nice, very healthy Brachiosaurus. And again, you can see those spots are just kind of all over the place, even on the underside. I really think it's such a cool appearance for this, and they've done some beautiful shading throughout, really nicely defining areas like the musculature and some of the wrinkles of the stomach. Definitely some nice paint application added, and I love that they've kind of lightened up the spinal column of the dinosaur and then had like this nice brown run down alongside it. It looks super cool. Really nice, very flashy coloration, but again in very natural tones, so it looks really, really realistic. Nice muscle tone here in the rear leg once again. Huge bulging calf muscles. There is the kneecap. Very nicely sculpted rear feet and ankles. Love the sculpt of this figure. And then as we come up here into the tail, you can see some more nice creases of the skin as we run out the length of this beautiful Brachiosaurus tail. And again, you can see the nice spots all over the place and some really nice color variation, color difference throughout. If we take a look at this side, as we start to lead down the neck, you can see some nice curves here in the throat and the neck area because the dinosaur has its head turned to the right. Looks very majestic, really beautiful. As we run down the neck, you can again see lots of creases in the skin. As we lead down here into the base of the neck, really nice detailing the entire way up and down the neck. Beautiful detailing on the underside here as well. I love that skin texture there. And again, you can see how nicely defined all the musculature is with the beautiful shading that they've applied. Really nice muscle tone. Once again, you can see the shoulder blade there. As we lead down the body here, you can see some nice wrinkling there of the skin, kind of showing off the movement. Again, the leg is pushing into the stomach, so it's bunching the skin up a little bit there. Beautiful creases in the joint here of the elbow. And again, the elbow is present back there. You've got the very nicely sculpted foot here on the front leg. If we come back up here into the stomach, you can see a few skin folds and everything. And as I turn it, you can see some really nice, very fine skin texture, but it is actually quite beautifully detailed for sure. Nice hip bone right here, and again the very nicely sculpted out musculature of the rear leg, those huge calf muscles. Considering the size of this dinosaur, it's going to need some huge muscles on its body to carry its immense weight, and they've definitely shown that here in the sculpt. You can't really see any paint on the nails, which is a little bit of a downside, but I think it still doesn't really take away from the figure. For the most part, it honestly looks great from every single angle I look at it, and it's just kind of making the appearance of the nails being a similar color to the foot, so I think it still looks really, really good. Nice wrinkling of the skin back here behind the leg. You can kind of see the skin stretching off of the leg a little bit, but you can see some nice creases as we lead out the length of the tail. The underside of the dinosaur also sports some beautiful sculpt and detail as well as paint application. So this Brachiosaurus is really, really nice. As far as the size goes for our Brachiosaurus, from the tail to the head, you are looking at about 11.5 inches or about 29 centimeters for a length, and then for a height, about 6 3/4 inches or about 17.5 centimeters. Really nicely sized for a Brachiosaurus. More often than not, when you get a Brachiosaurus figure, they end up being a little bit too large for most people to add to their collection. I personally like really big figures, but when you have a large amount of figures in your collection and nowhere to really add new figures that are going to take up too much space, you're probably going to need a much smaller version of these larger sauropods, and Mojo Fun has 100% got your back here with these figures because they are definitely a much smaller size for sauropods, but I personally love the fact that they are. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, Robert Muldoon, and the Attack Pack Colovosaurus in here to help us give you an idea of the size of the Brachiosaurus. Again, showing exactly what I just said, and the fact that this isn't an extremely large Brachiosaurus like most companies would probably produce. Mojo Fun here has pulled off a Brachiosaurus that is in an extremely convenient size for sure. So this Mojo Fun Brachiosaurus for their 2020 year is fantastic. I love the sculpt, very Jurassic Parkish as I stated at the beginning of the review, and anytime something can give me the feeling of a Jurassic Park style dinosaur, I'm 100% in straight away. But I really love just in general how nicely sculpted the very fine detailing of the figure is. You can see so much skin creasing and so much detailing all throughout the neck region of the Brachiosaurus, and then when you get down into the body, such beautiful muscle definition throughout, and then the shading that they've done on the figure really brings out all the very fine details so beautifully, along with the very cool spotting that they've put all over the figure. It's such a very different appearance for a sauropod, and that's kind of the same thing that I could say with most of the 2020 Mojo Fun sauropods. They've all had very interesting looking paint schemes. Mojo has kind of been thinking outside the box, I guess you could say, when it comes to what a sauropod might look like, and I think that they've actually paid that off really well in every one of the sauropods here that I've reviewed, because honestly they've all been total wins in my opinion. And I really think that the overall appearance of this Brachiosaurus, like I said, is very striking, but potentially something I could really see a Brachiosaurus being. Beautiful tones of brown that they've used and everything, and the very nice kind of light brown coloration for the primary body isn't exactly what I would expect to work so well on a sauropod, but it absolutely does when it comes to this Mojo Fun Brachiosaurus. I am definitely a very happy camper adding this to my collection, and you should be interested in adding this to your collection as well, because if you are on the hunt for a nicely sized Brachiosaurus, this is definitely your guy. Really, really nice looking Mojo Fun 2020 Brachiosaurus. So if you do want to pick this up and add it to your collection, make sure you keep checking back to djenkins.com and everythingdinosaur.com, as both of those websites should be stocking these guys in the very near future. So once they do go up for sale, make sure you pick up this beautiful Brachiosaurus. But before you head off checking their stock, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.